and thank you for joining So This is Thailand today. I'm Tapani Manawet. สวัสดีค่ะ
I'm Johan Wimonchalau. สวัสดีครับ
And I'm Kip Sunbeck, joining in place of Dr. Valerie for this week. So this is Thailand.
Indeed it is. Back again in the studio. Nice to see you.
Back on that horse.
Well, what do you think so far of being here on the show?
Well, enjoying it a great deal, and it's interesting to see the feedback that we got from yesterday, because we've actually been able to alter the story's sequence a little bit today to address one of the concerns. For me, I think this whole rice pledging scheme is hugely interesting, but it seems like a lot of people are actually most interested in talking about Muslims stop work on Friday in the south, which is a surprise to me because so many of our viewers are from Bangkok. I would have thought it's an interesting story, but not something that people would actually go out and comment on. But this is the one that people have commented on by far the most.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to look at, whenever we're covering stories here, we always have politicians who obviously have their opinion. You have, obviously, the media who reports these opinions, and you have all these the academics out there coming up with good ideas. Are they practical, and are they actually be able to be implemented? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. If we look at, especially with the flooding, thank God we don't have a flooding story today, but you have academics talking about, well, this should work, but does it actually work in real life? Yeah, just like in physics, if you're talking about working in a complete vacuum, this law applies, but obviously there's so many other circumstances. So
There's always many factors.
it is. Well, to get right into it, talk of the town today, a lot of you have obviously heard about at the Utapao International Airport how the U.S. government, or actually not the government, the NASA, the U.S. National Aeronautics and Space Administration, yes, NASA, was going to try to do some weather monitoring and some tropical climate research there, and it was turned down because channels weren't right, they weren't given permission by the government, and there was a big uproar over it. Well, now, if we're looking at it and the ramifications now, because of that one event, President Obama was actually supposed to visit Thailand during that time. But because they were turned down for this project, given the approval, they actually canceled that trip. But he has rescheduled to come back to Thailand November 18th to 19th. Now, obviously...
This is a big assumption behind it.
Now, yes, this is a big assumption. It depends on his re-election, obviously. So in the beginning of November, on November 6th, if he gets elected, yes, President-elect Obama will be here in Thailand in the middle of November. So,
wow, that's very exciting news.
yeah, it is big. So
He's like a bit of a, like an icon in his own right, I think. He's like a bit of a star.
Well, you could arguably say he's the most powerful man in the world.
Well.
He heads up the largest military force, I think.
Yes.
And of course, America is a leader in many aspects of the economy, science, and so forth and so on. But for me, I think this news story, it's jumping the gun a little bit. What if he gets re-elected? And what if after he gets elected, he decides to come here? But I suppose diplomatic channels, they take a long time to figure out, because you can't just have him turn up and our Prime Minister and the President are sitting there and they don't know, I wonder what we should talk about, because nobody actually drafted an agenda. So all these things have to be prepared in advance. I'd like to see what the agenda is going to be.
well, absolutely. I know in terms of the interest here, we were looking at, I think we actually covered the story a few weeks ago, looking at the investment from the United States into Thailand. Actually a phenomenal investment here in terms of our infrastructure and economy and looking toward the future. Obviously, the U.S. does see Thailand as, kind of the core of the AEC. It's geographically perfectly positioned. It is easy access to get in the country right now. And our ties, with the United States and in Thailand are quite strong. So, the hiccup that was the NASA Utapao incident, hopefully was just a procedural misunderstanding, not being full disclosure. We will never know what happened behind the closed doors, but hopefully, whether he gets re-elected or not, it would be great to see a leader from the United States come here to Thailand and, give us their vision.
And have you heard yet, if it isn't Barack Obama that gets re-elected, if it's Mitt Romney, will he actually be coming? Is it the President of the United States that will definitely be coming, and it's like a rotating chair, either way they come?
I think if Mitt Romney wins the election, he'll have so much on his plate that Thailand will be kind of shelved until he's able to clear out a lot of, set his policy up, get his people in position.
That's understandable. And most of Thailand will go, Mitt Romney who? Right, well, on to our second topic for Talk of the Town. And previously on the show, we had brought you a story about how trade in the South is resuming on Fridays, so sort of like business as usual. Well, today, there's another side of the story where a Muslim scholar has urged the government to declare Fridays a public holiday in the 3 southernmost provinces in order to be more in line with people's way of living. The argument goes that most government offices on Fridays already close anyway, so that the Muslim officials can go to mosques and pray and attend prayer services. So the argument is that it doesn't change the status quo very much, but it is just an acknowledgement and also kind of makes things easier. And yes, that is the claim, but well, I don't know. There's something that doesn't sit right in the story where it goes, if this happens, the insurgents will not be able to threaten people to close businesses, which is kind of like a reverse weird way of thinking, I think.
It sounds like, that's kind of a giving in strategy. That's almost like saying, you know what, if people don't take out money from the ATM, they're not going to get robbed, so don't take out money from the ATM.
Exactly.
It's a little backwards in the logic. I can understand that, if you're looking at the religious observances and obviously being a predominantly Muslim area, why not do something that which accommodates people in their beliefs and their lifestyle? But if it's not wanted or needed,
it is sort of like giving in to fear.
Yeah,
that's the key.
It comes down to us sitting here yesterday saying we think this is what the Southerners would like and providing a set of recommendations, but perhaps we were wrong. Equally, I think the academics saying that this is what the Southerners want and need may also be wrong. The best idea is probably to actually ask the people, and each individual can make their own decision. If many government offices are closing on Friday because that is how they would like to practice their religion and that would be how they would like to work, then I think it's very presumptuous of people in Bangkok to just lean on them and say, no, you must open on a Friday. But equally, you can't have the reverse situation where some people who are not Muslim, because not everyone in the South is a Muslim, they wish to open on a Friday. I don't see how it's disrespectful. They're not Muslims. They choose to open on a Friday. Other customers who are not Muslim as well choose to shop there. Who's doing something wrong here? I just don't see it.
Well, a lot of the problems, and it's something that we face in the West as well, when you're looking at the separation between church and state, or religion and state operations. It's one thing to have the religion, to have your beliefs and be able to practice them freely, but you really need to separate that from the commerce, from the political, from the governmental side. So, Thailand is, even though a predominantly Buddhist country, there is a freedom of religion. We are very welcoming. His Majesty the King has been absolutely gracious and, forward-thinking in saying, this is a country of Thais. We are all Thais, no matter what our religion is. And, if we followed more of what he set forth, we would be much better off.
So fingers crossed we'll actually see a resolution to this issue during this coming week.
Well, moving on to something a little lighter out there for you. We all know that, at least from Westerners, we love buying stuff online. We have no problem buying electronics, clothing, anything, you name it, we can get online. Thailand has been a little more reticent in getting into that online commerce, though a new website called invadeit.co.th is actually trying to change that trend and offer a trustworthy and popular site for buying products. Now, in the beginning, they were selling with a name like Invade IT. It was for IT. It was for IT things, electronics, mobile phones, computers, laptops, etc. Now they're launching, based on popular demand, home products as well. So, if you want your refrigerators, you want your washing machines, your coffee makers, hair dryers, what have you. And what the big news about this is, obviously for us living here in Bangkok, it's easy to go down to the mall and just buy these products. But for a lot of those expats or people who are living outside of the cities where there are no big shopping malls, this is a great way to be able to buy products online, same as you would buy it, and many times at a cheaper price because obviously you don't have the retail space. They offer free delivery for many products. Why not?
And the Danish CEO actually claims that it's cheaper than going into a physical shop. This is something that we've seen definitely in the States. As you mentioned, people in America, they're crazy about buying online. You can even go and use your smartphone, take a photo of the barcode, and it will immediately pop up with a list of online and bricks and mortar prices, so you can do an immediate comparison. I think it's a great trend, but I'm still not 100% convinced that a lot of Thai people are going to be embracing online commerce just yet. Lack of credit cards,
yes,
lack of trust,
lack of central
buying online.
payment system,
Sure.
and also things go missing in the post. Not
Well, have you bought anything as our resident Thai lady, as it were?
I send things, and the thing is you need to send it by registered mail, which sometimes it goes missing, and then they can track where it went missing, but they can't find it. Or actually a very safe way to send it is by EMS, but it costs slightly more. Girls love to shop online, so my friends buy earrings and, you know, clothes online all the time. But
this is buying from abroad and shipping to Thailand, or this is
No,
buying
from-
in Thailand and shipping?
yeah, from vendors within Thailand.
Interesting.
Yeah, cosmetics as well.
That's actually an interesting point, because a lot of people who have tried buying something from overseas and bringing it into the country, even if it was cheaper overseas, you get smacked with those tariffs. You know, once you come in, you know,
And
obviously,
shipping charges
and
as
the
well.
shipping charges. So you know, you may think, oh, I'll just buy an iPhone 5 from the U.S. Well, think again, because you're going to get taxed on it, and it's going to end up going to cost you more than if you had actually bought it here.
Plus, you should support the local distributor as well, because it's got warranty claims and all those sorts of things to cover. But this is slightly different. This is actually a Thai merchant selling in Thailand. Good luck to them. Selling refrigerators in the upcountry provinces. There's going to be a lot of demand, I think, for these large items. And if the price really is as good as they say, well, when we finish shooting today, I'm going to check out www.invadeit.co.th. I'll check it out.
Right. Well, the last story of Talk of the Town is about films. Now, for film buffs, every year there is a film festival in Busan, and filmmakers and the film industry alike flock there to hold business talks and to broker their films, to sell films, to buy films. This year, in the 17th International Film Festival, Thailand is a little less represented than we used to be. The representative of Thailand's Small and Medium Enterprises Promotion Office said that 25 Thai film entrepreneurs and producers participated, but noticeably some of the bigger film companies like Kantana, the biggest and best known film production company, didn't have a booth there this year. So yeah, that's a wrap up on things, and we'll see how Thai films fare on the international stage. Sometimes we have tremendous successes, especially with the horror stories, but in terms of drama, I don't think we're very well represented there.
Well, actually, I think
That's not strictly true, you know. If we look at the last 3 or 4 years, there was a big film, right, that did well in Cannes.
I don't know. I think like you know, Shutter and things like that have been bought and
absolutely.
remade.
Remade,
That
yes,
did very well, but I can't think of any others.
well,
off the
PK
top.
and Nick, we really should know more details on this, but PK and Nick did go over a lot of Thai films which are, you know, sent overseas, you know, redubbed or
Yes.
whatever it is. But they are quite popular, but a lot of them are the thriller type, you know, the horror type. But
PK and Nick would know about this.
they know everything, don't they?
But Uncle Bun Mi and his previous lives of the director Apichat Pong went and achieved huge success artistically, but it's sometimes difficult to match artistic success with commercial success. And I think a festival like Busan is actually focusing more on commercial success. So I would love to see what the end results are over the coming 12 months of how many films we can sign for distribution in other markets. Because it's a big investment, it's a lot of effort to go all the way over there to try and promote Thai film. But if you ask me, I think we've got the great product. It's not a problem of our films are not good enough. They're easily good enough to foot it on the world stage.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, that does wrap up the Talk of the Town for today. We had a lot of stuff for you. Don't go away, though, because coming up after the break, it is me once again out on V-Talk, looking at V64. It's a great artist community where you can go there, see the artists in their studios, producing their art. You can talk with them, you can order things, you can even buy directly from them. It's really one of the first of their kind here in Thailand, and, well, you'll see exactly what's going on there. After that, we have Belinda, I believe. Anyone?
Anyone?
Not quite sure.
Couture Fashion Week.
Not quite sure. You have to stay tuned to find out. We'll be right back.